Alright, cool. Hey guys. I feel crazy for doing this, but I feel like everybody needs feedback, especially during the beginning parts of the semester. So I can't do this for every single class because, well, it's late at night and I have to attend to other things, but I'd like to give everyone a level of feedback. So here we go. So let's pick up where I left off. Yes, the hydroponic stuff. Another rendering. So this is kind of exception to the rule. Typically, I say don't put full image on the first one. Kind of give me a teaser image. Give me a reason to flip the page. But by looking at them, I don't know what they are yet. So they kind of can stand as is. One thing I am seeing though is you have a margin on top and on bottom. And I'm wondering how you're using that margin. Or is that just a temporary thing? It seems you don't touch it, but then again, it's not a great offense. I mean, you could use better real estate. Maybe you'd get back 10-15%, but it's alright. So, until there's a reason not to have it, I guess visual looks alright. Too much text, man. Too much text. Because chances are your content's going to be viewed on a computer screen. And I can read aquaponic systems, media field beds, nutrient-rich tech, deep water culture, and why aquaponics, basic diagram. But everything else I don't read. So I'm hoping there's not anything important. Problem is, there's probably something important. Let's go for a bigger diagram because once we see this, we have a better understanding of what you mean by aquaponic systems. And then once we understand aquaponic systems, why? Why do we do the project? What do we want to design? What do we want to fix? Points of focus. All right, you're designing for who is this? Kind of feel like he needs a name. So this is Chance, the rapper. He has one child. Are you saying that the dog is a child? Because some people will consider that. I don't know. So I like having a persona or archetype to go after, but why? Why is having a persona important? How do they lead you to making design decisions? Why do we need a logo? Why do we have 3 logos? Design process. So this is a pretty big phase, and like right now you're just sketching to sketch. And do you need a logo? There needs to be a reason for you to show it to me, because this is an industrial design portfolio probably. So why you show me a graphic? There are good reasons for it, but you're not explaining them, so I don't know. And this kind of feels weird. Here's our first kind of offense of using this approach. If this was full bleed, I think it would feel right, but because you just have a bar sitting up top, it feels awkward. Design process. Okay, you're exactly right. This is a good design process. Maybe you have one of these hexagons to tell me you went with this idea and you went with that idea. In this case, I don't think that is the reason why you did it. I just think they're graphical elements and they kind of distract me. Like my attention goes to these first because they have a background element, or they go to these because they're green. So maybe primary, secondary, tertiary. You got to be more careful with these corners. They should be actually round, like part circles. Right now they've been stretched, so they look pretty ugly. We got to get rid of Oasis number 7 because everything in this project is going to be Oasis. And I need to know what are some needs of aquaponic systems, what are unique needs of your persona, and how do they feed into your sketches? What are you trying to solve? How much space do they have? What type of output are they looking for? What type of consumer are they? And that will lead me to having information on your design. Then we can start picking it apart. I think this should be a bigger sketch as well. Keep in mind, I'm not going to read this. Maybe if you bold like a few words, it would bring my attention to it. But right now, I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to say, oh, it's interesting. You've got water running through these. Do you have that happening in your final model? Maybe so, maybe no. I would say initially, no. I don't see water going between the two. I see a hose running out and a hose running out, but I'm really trying to see that information. So how do these two interact? I feel like there's got to be more explanation of the concept here. You have what appears to be warm water and cold water, and that's just my experience with looking at water diagrams. But where are the fishes? Where's the food inserted? So there needs to be more of a diagrammatic thing going on. Once again, treat these corners with respect. I'm not even sure you got to round the corners off. These square corners look just fine, and they take up a good amount of the real estate that's available. So I don't know. I say maybe a light square outline, but even more important than the outline is explaining what are the needs and how does this solution fit the needs. So you have this Voronoi, like spatial thing. I think it's a very pretty design, but why this? Is this like the internal structure that is welded together and then you kind of wrap it with an aluminum outer body? Why did you do that? I don't know. These are, in comparison, they're bad renders. I still don't understand what's going on. I'm not going to read. Like, I'll read a few words. Place you are going to let the waste out. Waste, spell check, please. But I don't know the inputs. I don't know where the fish go. I don't know where the food goes. I know you have some type of vertical gardening thing, which is cool. So I should see some plants coming out of it at some point. Where are the plants at? Where are the plants at? All right, so just some. It's a cool design, but you're not doing a good job of explaining why you made the decisions. Right now, I'd kick that out just because it's more about the system than it is about the logo. All right, things to do there. Talked about this one briefly, Miss Kendall. Just forgive me if I'm being blunt, but convince me that I'm not just looking at BS. Let's talk more about the sleeping environment more than sleeping itself. Like, I mean, how much time do you spend in the bedroom? Is there... Ooh, feng shui, I've never heard of that before. I'm just joking. This feels like BS. If you want to talk about like reclaimed wood or making local products, I could kind of get behind that. Comforting bed is essential to good night's sleep. Yes. A beautiful headboard would create a perfect experience. I disagree. I feel like I went without a headboard for all of college and I slept pretty good because I was tired. So once again, I'm just trying to play like devil's advocate and like reinforce where it's coming from. I would sharp angles, if we're going back to like design fundamentals, sharp angles are not calming. So one of two things, definitely two things. I want better sketches. I want sketches in context because this looks like a fence, not like a headboard. In order to do a headboard, you got to give me some context of a bed as well. And two, I don't believe they're calming shapes. They're kind of rather abrupt in nature. So fix that, please. Working with wood, yes, this is important, but this is just, for me, it looks just like plywood. It's actually cheap wood. Why is this ideal material? Two, why do I have two images of plywood? I think if you're going to go more after a bespoke product or reusing heartwood pine, which it's not grown anymore, but it's only available through recovering material. Like, why is that important to products these days? If you don't know what it is, figure it out. You talk about, I don't know what you're refining. Yes, there are details, and I do want to see the details, but I don't know. This is someone using a screwdriver. More process, placeholder, we'll call it. I think this is attractive. I don't think it's calming. Easy rest under your own dynasty. It just sounds cheesy. So I need more why. Convince me it's not BS. Let me go back. Okay. Why did you stain it? This might be a... And you showed it stain it in white, so I'm just wondering why that's there. If you stain it, you would never stain like heartwood pine, or you would never stain like a really rich material. You might oil it to have the natural, I don't know, luster come out, but it just seems like the way you're framing it doesn't feel true to what I see. Yes, Miss Shinsei. I don't know what we're talking about. If this is the sample, then we're talking about app, and you're talking about a museum. Is this a museum project? Because I don't really see museum in that so far. Needs to be changed. Okay. I can honestly say I have no idea what you're doing. Like, you're formatting pages, but I don't know what your project is. I don't know what problem you're solving, so I can't give any feedback. It's just placeholders for content, so I need more content to give you feedback in terms of layout. While personally I like having these numbers in the background, I think over the course of your portfolio they're going to get redundant. It's just a weird 9 or a 6. For me, they don't add enough to keep it, so let's get rid of it. What is this icon in the lower left-hand corner? It's repetitive. Maybe that happens over your entire portfolio, and that's okay. Once again, I need more information. I can't give you feedback on it's not well filled out yet. All right, feedback in class, feedback in class. Wyndham, I gave you feedback in the summer, but you made me sad today. You're like, I want feedback. Well, here's your feedback. Oh, baby. So people don't know what progressive backtracking is. So I don't want to say mistakes. It's possible that we have not missed out. I'm probably talking too much today. My vocabulary is going to garbage. Is it possible that there's something very important that we don't emphasize anymore? So that way it's not a mistake, it's just a lack of focus. I'm trying to think of a way to reinterpret that. Setting, outdoor heating. Currently, no products for outdoor heating. All right, let's move up non-gas up to the top. Who? Middle-class homeowners. I would say it's not a price point you're going after, because like if I want a bonfire, it's pretty cost efficient, and it's neither gas nor electric, it's wood, and that's pretty cost effective. But like, what type of feeling are you going for here? So I think that would decide your demographic more accurately. I feel two ways about this. One, I feel like your text maybe overall in your portfolio feels just a touch big, and it could be scaled down. I like this size more than I like that size. If it's the same one, I apologize, but I feel like maybe you could bump down a few font points and it would open this space up. It feels really full, but then again, I can interpret through icons and I can interpret through quick reading of text. Oh, now we're changing on to gas/wood. Come on. Pick one demon here. Sketch ideation. I like having the callouts because it really it's a problem solving approach. And I love the cutaway view. But I think just now I realized it's a cutaway view. How can we do that? Do we? It's like I almost want to actually put a split and put a space between the two, and then maybe like a dotted dash, dotted line, pulling some influence from the drafting days. And then maybe some more descriptions, just detailing this outer profile, inner cross section. I think these are more impactful than this. So maybe you make up more real estate with the sketches you have, especially because you're gonna, why do we have these extra? Choosing a direction. Well, you had initial sketches. Were they honed down? No, they're just kind of showing the entire revolution of them. I don't think I think you can pick a direction off of these guys. Or what components come from phase 1 into phase 2, because I really don't see much development here per se. What did you learn from prototyping? Don't care about sweet Nirvana shirt though. I don't care so much about you in the shop, but you made these models. What did you learn from the models, and how did it influence your direction? I'm kind of curious, like, do I want a sequence of views on this? Maybe, maybe not. One thing that I'm missing is I want to see use of radiant hot plate, and I want to see like somebody lifting up this top cover and lighting them. I'm not sure if that's necessary, but in terms of function, I want to see how it's used, and I want to see what it's used for. There we go, got it. What a lovely evening for these people. I think there's lots of good content here. It's about a little bit tighter framing and a little bit more how it's used. Not bad though. You're pretty close. One of the advantages of working this summer. How we doing on time? All right. Golf bag protection. Okay. So we can't go into material selection first. I need to know just information about traveling with golf bags. It's one of those things that a lot of, we'll say Americans, because I know that demographic, it is cool to go golfing different places, but it's a cost you have to build into traveling. So it limits the amount of people in the U.S. who will go golfing across the United States just out of cost. So there's a cost, there's a protection, there's a convenience. 3 things to consider, maybe more than that. And I believe in this case, collapsibility. So what are some issues with traveling with your golf clubs and your golf bag? And then how do you go about solving those problems? Eventually we can get to materials, but we can't even get there right now. Explain the problem, explain some of your initial directions, and then we can get into sketching. This is not a really good way to frame the sketches. I need them to be big. I don't want borders on them, and I need to know what problems you're solving as you sketch. Why is it important that it folds down? Let's keep that color of orange consistent. This bar is not helping you. I'd like to see these sketches be bigger. We're talking about materials. Are materials important? I don't know. Once again, bar is not helping you, and I don't understand where these come from. I would say that's your chosen concept, but I'm guessing, and I don't want to guess. I want you to be deliberate and intentional about it. Let's make these bigger. Additionally, what's supposed to go in a golf bag? Golf clubs. And since we probably don't have this model anymore, I want you to Photoshop some golf clubs in there. Assembly, I need step 1, step 2, step 3. Showing how it goes together. Showing how it collapses. Once again, when you explain why it's important to have a collapsible golf bag, then I'll start appreciating how easy it is to assemble or deassemble. For me, this is out of context. It's just an image of a golf bag with some golf clubs. Go back to the entire reason why they're traveling with the golf clubs in the first place. They're either in the airport and it's making it easier on them, or they're on the golf course using them. One of those two images would be a lot more beneficial than it just sitting in white space. All right, how much did I talk about this during class? Yes, talked about it. You know what to do about those first 2 pages. Talked about it. The shoe. I do like a good shoe. I like having the criteria before the relationship. A lot of that reason is I'm going through portfolios fast. Not just now, but I'm assuming someone who's going to be interviewing people and looking for talent is going to be going through interviews fast, and I want to know, should I spend time on this? So you design a pair of lifestyle shoes that can be used in a different environment. I wouldn't say different. Different is every type of different. So more rugged, more nasty, dirty. I don't know. But I need to be more specific on what it's designed for. And then you can go back to why it's important, trying to balance out having the shoe that you enjoy that expresses your unique personality, and then problems with having that. What is anti-fouling? I love that word, but I don't know what it means. Are you just making a lifestyle shoe for outdoors? I'm guessing. I don't know. Additionally, never do hyphenizations. I want full words at all time because you are in control of the space. So hyphenization does not fit, and it just looks bad in my opinion. So this needs work according to exactly what criteria you're designing for. You're sketching, it might be good to start with a mood board. Like, what are some of your influences? Because do I really need another shoe? No. I'll just have like a shoe for lifestyle, and then I'll have a shoe to attack the woodlands. So why are you trying to make 2 shoes into one? What's kind of your visual brand strategy? What type of look are you going for? I think having a inspiration page could be good for that. Then we get into sketches. Honestly, I don't see enough sketches. Sneakerheads love all things different shoe. So give me some more looks of this, some more thoughts, maybe detail the elements better. Do I need a logo? I don't know. Honestly, I don't think so. Solution, assembly. This is not assembly. This is just like hero shots. I do like detailing this, but you've detailed everything except these 2 things. Are they not important? Almost like I want to see them in a rugged environment because that's the direction I felt like they were going for. But you never put them outside. Lean on, let's see what we got. Alvy. Introduction. I can't read, it's too small. 2, I'm not going to read it. So I need one statement telling me where we're going. I do need some research. I know it's aquaponics. So what was the challenge for y'all to design? So I don't see anything. I can't give you any feedback. So this is not my fault. Like, that's why we did the story structure sheet, is so you could start putting in some of the reasons why you did the project. You have colors and you have shapes. That's all I can tell you. All right, Stern's cool. We talked about this in class, so I'm not going to go back to it. Cat pinball. Can we get down to 2 sentences maybe? 2 sentences. Let's leave out the Pez-like experience. You can tell me why that's good. eye-appealing package design. You can tell me why that's good later. I would just say it's a project re-envisioning the way we feed our furry children. Another problem that's going to come across is this isn't going to work really well for, what's it called? Computer screen, so 16 by 9. Like, you just look at the ratio of my screen, it takes up about 50% of the space. So if you cut that in half and just design one page at a time instead of trying to do a spread 2 pages at a time, you'd be taking advantage of the real estate. Now, if you want to stick with landscape, I'll let you do it. I think it's more tough to design for, and it doesn't fit the medium. But then again, your portfolio, not mine. Just give me a reason for doing it. Your choice to do this, but I did want some research what's going on with Meowmix, or what's going on with the competition, or where are some opportunities to introduce new design to. The reason why is this feels a little bit lazy, because the first thing I see is a Pez type dispenser, and the only sketch I see is a Pez type dispenser. And so there's no iteration and there's no exploration. You just made a thing. Why is that thing the best thing? And why are these other ideas not as useful? I don't know. It's your job to design to convince me of that information. Packaging, you can throw this in once you have a shape, but I'm not convinced it's the best shape, so this can wait. Details, it feels a little bit full. I think scaling things down. Once again, I think cutting this thing in half and like spending one on what the food looks like, how to get it out. I like this diagrammatic view. Let's use a brush in Photoshop to kind of erase part of the hand so it fades instead of just cutting it. And then another one detailing what type of graphics a user might want on this. Because I like the more articulate mouse face, but then we lose some of the details here. I like the hat, but the whiskers are pretty cute. And the dots in the eyes. So what happened to them? I don't know. And then we have a separate one, cat sandwich. So really you were designing two things all along and they were pushed in two directions. So in the beginning phase, saying you designed for two types of outputs, maybe a treat and a meal, and then go through the design development of both. Because I thought we were done, and then all of a sudden we go back into a cat sandwich. For me, you're missing on like research, findings, development opportunities, iteration. Those three things are missing. After that, you have pretty good details of the food that are being used. I do want to see, you see how you cut his bottom part off? He needs to be full bleed. And I'm not really digging the way that you've articulated information here. Give that another way, and then selected meatball. What is this? I want bigger, more how it works, and I want everything in the context of a kitty cat because that's who you're designing it for. So good. I see good stuff. It's just not. It ain't done. Electric free heating for your home. Cool. Plan to make a little go for it. I think introducing this concept first is going to be more impactful than going straight for a lamp and the problem. Be like, ask the question, what brings us around a campfire? Heating is going to be your most obvious. Let's move it to the end. I want to say like convenience to a certain degree. There is a bit of entertainment too, but most important, community. So once you establish like these are the reasons we like getting together, but it's not always available. Is there a kind of a sweet spot in the middle you could hit? And then you say, all right, so what if you do home heating, reinterpreting the campfire for the 21st century? Why did you choose not to go with electric? Safe fuel, yeah. Clay pots, okay. Burnt oil, okay. I want like, what is one problem statement, and then what are your design opportunities? Not so much what you found. You can talk about this in the sketch phase. Sketch phase, yeah, these aren't really. It feels like 2 sketch pages. Let me see this next one. Yeah. 1 or 2 things, either 2 set sketch pages when one's a lot of volume that gets narrowed down, the second one's more detailed, or do a better job of integrating, because it feels like 2 sections. This is a section, and this is a section. Or this is initial ideation working with the cones, and this is development upon that cone. So I think this page needs to be redone. That way it's more linear. Like I understand you went from A to B to C to D. Man, I meant to say this to maybe Dawei earlier. When you're doing leaders, for some reason my eyes go straight to this, and like these angles are different. So you gotta keep all your angles either all the same if you use straights or use curvies. The curvies take my attention off it being straight. I don't know why that is, and then make them lighter, because the attention really should be to this line. It should be the sketch and the image detailing the sketch. So how can we redo this page and make it better? Then we talk about the Vulkan. You're using a lot of the space in the middle, not so much the outside. So what if you made the entire background this a gray color and you did a composition? We might have to be careful with some of these that have led to the outside. And then this guy can be made a little bit bigger and stands by itself. So gray background, and then maybe we can rearrange these some. Also need to know how it works. I know you talked about fuel source earlier, but you got to talk about it again. And then honestly, like how much heat can you expect to get from this? And then also, is it safe to leave it on when you're not at the house? Just a few extra questions. Oh dear, I'm talking too much. Sip of water. Initially, I thought you had forgot my 20 megabyte deal, but for some reason it just loads slowly. So I reckon we just gotta be patient. Well, that's what probably got to be so hard to teach. Like, could I clone myself or get another professor to get in on this? This 1 to 50 ratio is not very nice. Give me 5 seconds, then we'll try to download. Alright, just remind me that it's out there. Meowmix. I do like icons, but I need a. Ooh, what happened to you? I need a statement. Hey, why do we have spreads? That was weird. This ain't 16 by 9. I know that's not 16 by 9. I know this show ain't 16 by 9. So let's talk about some. Yep, this is why you want to talk to me. Everybody wants to talk to me in my office when they know it's bad. It is bad, but it's okay because you know it's bad, and so we're gonna find a way to fix it. Let's start off with functionality. This doesn't work. This is kind of using what I have in class without actually interpreting in a way that's beneficial for you. So, what did Meowmix ask you to do? I feel like I'm saying the same content again. I'm dying on the inside. What did Meowmix ask you to do? What are some opportunities in the market? How do you want to make food more unique and catered to a 21st century cat owner? And then we take those opportunities and we explore them through sketching. These all look, that looks disgusting and that looks disgusting. These look okay. So let's just do the illustrated ones rather than the literal gelatin ones. Give me information on the how. Do we have multiple types of feeding mechanisms? It seems like this and this are the same and that is different. And I don't know why we have 2 different ones. You got to explain to me that you went down 2 different paths, maybe a snack and a meal. I don't know. I need help with explanation and just more process. Thanks for reminding me. Come on, you're killing me, Smalls. There we go. Coat rack, a form study. Okay. What do we need in a coat rack? I don't want to do market research first. Like, why do we need a coat rack in the first place? And then what type of VBL are we looking for here? So a mood board could be interesting. Well, explain one, why do we need it? Why it's important that we create it? Two, what type of language are you trying to express? Because market research seems a little bit BS right now because of, if you're talking about form study, we're talking about aesthetics. And if you're doing market research, it's not so much aesthetic research. You're just giving me measurables. So I think this could be taken in a better direction. I know it's a filler image, but I'm just giving feedback on what I see. You want to keep cost down, which is good. Melon wood, sure. I mean, plastic is an option, but it's kind of gross. User assembly is not a necessary design criteria. So do you want to make it easy to assemble or not? I mean, if you want to keep the cost down, you could do the whole IKEA approach. I don't know. Design inspiration, cool. But before I see the design inspiration, I need to know why we need coat racks. So intro. What's your design brief? What are you going for? Market inspiration. Maybe market research. Still not convinced on that. Come on, quit acting broke. Then we get into sketches. I like what you're dealing here. Good job with the leaders. Most people throw them in without considering delicacy. Silence the lambs. Cool. So how does your approach fix the problem of designing cost-efficient, attractive coat racks? Archetype angle. What do you mean by that? And initial findings say you only did one type of model. Why? And then you have these spheres, which I think are actually kind of pretty, but you choose to hide them. This is my favorite image so far. White balance is way off here. And this is cute, but you're in focus and your object isn't in focus. So I say we throw it out because it's kind of not as focused or intentional toward the project as it should be. Another white balance issue. But explain why this fits uniquely in this home, why it fits the price point, why it's a good combination of multiple materials. Maybe an archetype at this point or a made-up persona could help that kind of pairs with your market. Just some thoughts. Where'd you go? Okay, got it. Yes, cat egg. That's my opinion, my impression of you. All right, I'm looking at the margins. You got a bunch of orange on the top and the bottom. Are you using it? Nope. I say throw it away because you're just limiting your real estate. Let's do a different font choice. I do like having uppercase and lowercase. It's a bit easier to read. The spacing in between the letters is way too spaced out for all of this. Have it more compressed horizontally. And by doing a cat egg, it says you're just doing a cat egg. So I would say like Meow Mix and then explain the studio. And then maybe talk about taking due directions. Let's see, talk about here, like what are the needs of both the cat and the cat owner? Are you doing warmed, wet food or warmed, dry food? I don't know. I'm never going to look at text first. I'm going to look at images first. So cat eating food. These are the size requirements of kitties. The winner. It's not really a winner yet. You haven't won any money. And everyone, what is aspic? Because y'all know because y'all did the studio. I don't know because I didn't do the studio. And there wasn't any design process. Like, at least give me some sketches. I was thinking about solving the problem or an opportunity in the cat food market by doing this, and that got me to an egg. And let me tell you about the egg, then it makes sense. But right now it's just like, boom, no iteration, just here's my egg, like it or not. It might be the best idea, but I have no way to compare it against anything else. How it works, everything is really kind of tight. How do I describe that? Everything is a bit formal in the way it's formatted, and then I go to a very loose, cartoony format. So you kind of have to ease into this. Jumping into it, this feels like it's out of place. Once again, the orange border isn't helping you. Thank you, Wet Cat Food Design Package. Then we go to straws. Are there two types of eggs? Are you packaging the eggs in two different ways? Yulin, I'm so confused. What is this? Where did this come from? I don't know. I'm just really confused about the order. Like, these are great sketches. And actually, I dare say that they're too small. And I need you to talk about the sketches before you talk about the winners. That way I know where they came from and I know what problems they solve. The content looks really good, but the order is super confusing. All right, we got to move 15 weeks around. That needs to pull down a little bit. Big fan of Samuel Mockbee. Let's make, like, founder of the Rule Studio. How do we make that? Just make this entire thing smaller. That way you're not using two lines. Samuel Mockbee, founder, Rule Studio. Just trying to think how do we smush it up a little bit. I'm losing a little bit the ability to read. Do we need dual titles? Maybe get rid of that information. Rule Studio. Product line houses a new Max home. What's a Mac home? Is Mac a person? Also, girl, give me some alignment, right? This should be lined up right here, and we can't be switching. Can we do that? I guess we can. Typically, I like to do like all serifs and then all sans serif. What do I say do? I don't know. See if there's anything else that's coming to me. Oh, then you go too small. Insert graphic. Yes, you need a graphics. Approach client. I think the client should be coming. You're spelling Rule Studio. Timeline. I don't know if we need to give that much information about the history of New Bern. I think a QR code might be good. Like, if somebody in here is hiring for architecture and they don't know what Rule Studio is, shame on them. Like, wrist slap. So I don't think you have to give that much of an introduction. I do want to get into what are some of the criteria that are, what are the constraints of the project. Context is good, but like context in terms of what is the style of architecture there, because like location, all right, cool, but you can have really cool architecture anywhere. Did you know there's a Frank Lloyd Wright house in Florence, Alabama, up here? It's seeming to sound like basic normal houses, but that's a cool thing about architecture. So I don't really care about the location as much as what are the desires of the client, what are the parameters of the project. All right, so this house has been added onto. And what are you designing? So I love these panos. The downside is it's just like too much visual stimulus for my brain. I'm like, okay, where do I look first? Let's make this 2 pages. So let's save this big one for your second page. This is good. Flip flop these. Outside my children, see in here, I like how you're bringing attention, ideation. I don't know. I still don't know what you're trying to solve in this space because there's been so many additions to it. I don't know where the opportunity for improvement is. 1-to-1. Cool. What'd you learn from the 1-to-1? With 2-foot expansion transversely. I don't know what that is because maybe I'm stupid, but I don't want to feel stupid. Make me feel smart. Let's make these leaders lighter. Are y'all making a new house? Or are you altering the existing one? Drake Views. Also, you're going to have to do some management of expectations because I'm expecting with a built project, I want to see this thing done. But I don't get to see it done because it takes longer than 15 weeks. So you got to manage my expectations up front. And it feels like a big project and it's 15 weeks, so it should be a big project. What if modifications, I want kind of sketchy views of what the house might look like. And then at the very end, could you forecast for me what this will look like when finished? Give me some renderings. Also, bear with me, this is the first time I've done architecture reviews in 6-7 years. All right, Mr. Leaf Fish. We gotta get some color. Like, why is this a slightly different white? Could this fit better on the background that it's already going on here? Oh no, I'm losing my ability to articulate one thing. What is aquaponics? Cool. But this is in a greenhouse. Ain't no aquaponics back there. You gotta change your image. Market research. Too busy and I don't know how aquaponics works. So treat me like I'm stupid. I think explaining this better could be helpful. Maybe this is broken up into 2 pages. So show me what aquaponics looks like. A little bit. Tell me how it works like. This research seems like BS to me. I like getting into the opportunities. Maybe how do you make this isn't better for this type of person could be good. Why did you do brand development? To me, it's a lot of visual information. I know you did it, but why? And can we use this font? Let's just get rid of the font because I read the font and that's totally okay. I don't mind color studies. What do we do with all this? I don't know. My initial solution is break this up into 2 pages. Or put it at the very end of the project because up to this point we're talking about a system. We're talking about development opportunities in terms of product development. And then you go into graphics. So maybe we skip that till later. We go into concept generation and development. 2 pages. Right? There's great detail going on here. It's a shame that these sketches are the size that they are. I want them to be bigger so I can understand what's going on. And then I want to be able to read the callouts. So really good stuff. Just make that 2 pages instead. Also consider visual hierarchy for the development. All right, in that case, maybe we need to get rid of some sketches. we might need to scale this down, scale some of the text down as well. Right? I want the most important stuff to be the biggest and most impactful thing on the page. And right now everything's kind of fighting for space. You might not have to write further concept development. Just concept development. And if this one looks like a continuation of the first one, then I'll understand it's further concept development. Okay, so this is a good direction, right? I know it's scale model making. You actually don't have to tell me that it's scale model. I'll understand that after you gave me the final ideation, you went into scaling to learn something. But what did you learn? You say how mechanical parts work with or on each other. But more specifically, I learned I need more tolerance in this area. I learned that my overall height is too large for a 5'10" individual. Give me like a specific. Let's see. Okay. My biggest concern at this point is like, well, it's for fish and greenery, and I see neither fish nor greenery. Could you between these two pages? Yeah. What time is it? It's 12:30. Why am I doing this? I must love y'all so much. What's a Mayan pipe? I would like between these two pages a graphic, like kind of a section view, how this thing works. And then when you detail these things, I understand why they're important. Because right now I don't know. Details look good. Final shot. Honestly, just one. You can throw both. You can actually throw all these images on your website when it can be more graphical. But right now I want to end on one solution. And then you give me an extra like why this is a good solution here. If you say so. Let us look at things. Come on, computer. Everybody's tired. Get yourself together. Why are we providing shade? Let's not do... If we're like a newspaper or something where we're limited in terms of page real estate, you can do this. But for here, I want that to be horizontal. I want to easily read it. Why do we need a super stone band shell? Yes, you do need an image giving me context. So how do we attack this first? So I would show the amphitheater. I would explain maybe in like kind of a, you draw over it in a sketchy style. Be like, hey, this is a multi-use area. It's really good for concerts, but it's also really good for hanging out. And if we're being honest, it's going to be used for hanging out a lot more than concerts. So how do we design something that accommodates both situations? So then we have something to go for instead of just me reading through your panelized precast system. It's like you're putting the carriage before the horse. I need to explain why I should do it first before we get into the specifics. Emily, is it you who I was talking to about the desaturation of your portfolio? Maybe so. Because as I'm looking at this, design in a way that avoids the trees. Yes. But I don't really, I see little smudges, but I don't see trees. So I guess like just, I'm used to seeing green here. I'm not sure. Should it relate to the existing architecture? I'm not sure. I'd rather see this in 3D. Maybe not yet. I want to understand programmatically what should happen in this space before I see concepts. I'm going to say what I feel because it's like almost 1 o'clock. I'm glad you didn't do this. Whew. Auburn people would have your neck. You know, Auburn's kind of a traditional university, and I do like going. out a little bit, but you gotta read your audience, boo. Solid base, right? I say this is a no. I want to see these things in context and understand why they fit there, and then pick a concept and then explain beam construction or whatever prefab construction you want to talk about. I've already seen this, and so I don't know how this relates. Keep in mind, I'm not going to read. Graphics are always kind of what I go for first. And I dare say, like, this might look good in portfolios, other than I want this thing to be full bleed, because it's just kind of sitting here. It doesn't be full bleed. Cancel that. But we did this for two reasons. What does it look like if it was a concert venue, and what does it look like just to hang out in day to day? And I think this picture doesn't do either concept justice. Dun, 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 dun. It looks so post-apocalyptic. Soilless planting, self-sufficiency, and portable. Alright, so I know a James Smith. What are we making? Like, this is kind of the persona, inspiration, mood board thing. Cool, but what is the challenge of the brief? Like, you want to make a system for what type of scenario? Even if it can be made up a scenario, you could say it's 2065. After a recent nuclear fallout, people are exploring alternate types of living, food development, nomadic lifestyles. And then when you get into this, it starts making more sense. I would say for pure shock value, and I know you do like your weapons, but let's not put handgun or Glock. This guy works because he's kind of jolly. I don't mind him so much. But it's not about weaponry. It's about kind of lifestyle. And this is kind of weird, right? So this is the opposite of this. This is go out into the wilderness and see things. This is stay at your home. You say, yeah, I can survive in the extreme environment, but that is not extreme at all. You get to pick a maximum of 2 font choices. So this would be it, your large font, that being your header and that being your body. And so we really can't do that at this point. Aquaponic, hydroponic, none of design for the prepper. Okay, I get that. So what things would the prepper need for it to be appropriate for their lifestyle? Soilless planting, self-sufficient, portable. Soilless planting, yes. Portable, for sure. Self-sufficient, that's kind of already packed into the system. We know it needs to be self-sufficient. Is it possible to categorize? Like, if soilless planting, what are some concepts of soilless planting? What are concepts of portable farming? And then maybe put those two together. I don't need the logo here because we're just talking about concepts. Easy access to the fish. Okay, so why did you go for, if it's not designed for the prepper, why do we have a fish system? Why is this a good system for someone who's always on the go in a rugged woodland area? Added stand with wheels. I see that, but I know it's got to be mobile, so I think that mobile's already assumed. What's the difference between these two images? How is it a development on it? Because personally, I like this one better. I think it should be larger, and then you can tell me about the details. Is this really adding anything else except a little kickstand? No. Refined concept. Okay, so why did we go small scale? There's got to be a reason for doing this. And then we're back. to large scale. Iron Man's funny, but what is this page about? It's about the concept. So I'd rather you remove Iron Man and just give me like a silhouette. What did you learn from making the scale model? Right, I don't really care what scale it is. I just care what you learn from it. Working on sketch. At this point, because you've gone through all this development, this can be your final one. I'm not really sure if you need to go back into sketching. I just need to know why this one is a insufficient concept, why this one is an insufficient concept, and why you're deciding to go with this overland trailer. It is very cool looking, but then we gotta go back to the font stuff. You're using so many different font styles that it's driving me crazy. How does the system work? Would be really good. We don't need the Fusion logo. You're using your EO or EQ logo way too much. I would use it at the beginning, like introducing the EQ something something, your solution for these problems. Also, if you are in it creates a problem. If you're in this futuristic scenario where you want to be self-sufficient and you want to be a prepper and you actually need to have these systems, is there still going to be gas around? So who and when are you designing this for? Looked at that one. Before I articulate a little bit on this. Yeah, I think my timer's off. This means like so many people turn their stuff in after class. Class starts at 2, right? Maybe this is right. So Lucas got it in at 1, Jack Hammond, and everything after this is late. Class starts at 2. I told you I wanted things at 2. If it's after 2, it's not on time. These are at 3, which worries me a bit because this is during class, and if you're working on your portfolio, which I don't necessarily mind, but like I want you to be present mentally, like should I even hold class? Like if you're not going to listen to me, what's the point? Hydro Brake, Chase Bays, 3 to 4 week project. All right, small detail. Can you lighten that lineup some? Current solutions. Well, project brief first. What are you designing for? That is a big emergency brake. Okay, if the main competition is yourself, are you making a brake? Yes, a hydro brake. What is a hydro brake used for? Keep in mind, if you imagine I'm stupid, you're probably right. So what is a hydro brake used for? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? And then you can talk about the opportunities for improvement once I know what they are, because right now you threw me into the deep end. Current solution, price and size. Is size important? Price is important for sure. But is size important? You should somehow indicate that this is your target area. All right, so not a lot of content in here yet. I know you said you're going to throw things in there, but not a lot of content. So how can I give you feedback? Explain what hydro brakes are. Explain opportunities for improvement. Are these all Chase Boys? Don't try to fix all of them. Pick one that is pretty close to being good and then articulate on the opportunities for improvement. Is it really market analysis? Because you said earlier that you're competition yourself. I don't know if that's needed. what are the improvements, and so you can either show those through CAD or show those through Sketches. I don't really care which one. Testing, and then this where the validation needs to come back into. How are you improving on what's already existing? All right, Just Design Portfolio. Come on. I'm starting to worry about what size this is. We'll download it. Let's refresh it. Come on, one more. Don't stop on me yet, computer. Although, the longer it takes to download, I'm starting to worry if it's over 20 megabytes. And if it's over 20 megabytes, I'm not going to give you feedback because I specifically said I wanted under 20 megabytes. I guess we're just sitting and waiting then. What time is it? Almost. Ugh. All right. Cool. We're in. Calibi. All right. It's missing a lot of content. So I'll try to give you feedback on what I see. So you start off with your graphic development, but I don't. What's our problem? What are we trying to solve? Persona research. I can't tell you anything about persona research because I don't know what's wrong, and so I don't know if you even need a persona. We have a person. It's maybe an onion. That's an onion. He's extroverted and sensuous. Once again, I don't know what problem I'm trying to solve, so I don't know what to apply the persona towards. Sketching. Need to redraw. I would say the sketches are actually quite nice. It's just you need to scan them in to a computer so you can format them. So you're doing hydroponics, okay? So how do hydroponics work? What are some opportunities where you could explore? How do you make existing hydroponics better? Or how do you make, oh man, my voice is losing control. How do you make hydroponics more appropriate for a certain type of consumer? Logo development. No, let's leave the logo development out right now. Let's solve the product problem first, and then we can do logo development. Man, you just need more content. I can't give you feedback on stuff until you actually implement the thing from the story sheet. So give me more content, I'll give you more feedback. Why are we here? All right, everybody, hooray.